Hey there again. I'm going to just do a very quick doodle on the whiteboard. I've been spending time in a fab lab and it has a nice whiteboard like this. As you can see, I've done a doodle previously. And all you have to do is just rub it off. So it's not like when you're painting or drawing, you have to always use new materials. You can just use the same thing and rub it off. And if you want to record the work, you can photograph it. Okay, so I'm just going to start now. Usually I put on some music, but because I'm going to do this as a time lapse, the music will sound like chipmunks, so I'll probably put on some other music while it's time lapse overlaid. But sometimes it's interesting if you do the music and record yourself doing it to the music live, because the hand movements and what you do sometimes connect with the music. So without further ado, I'm just going to start doodling, and it's a really nice process. Doing it on a big whiteboard like this, or a big surface like a big road with chalk or whatever, because it's kind of a release, it's like an expression, and you feel quite invigorated. So after a day on your computer doing 3D graphics, design, whatever you do, computer programming, you can come and get a big surface and just have a nice time, and don't get too stressed, you know, because it's a doodle, you don't have to think about perspective and stuff, you just make shapes. So just let's go, okay? And I'm going to shut up. Be quiet. And again, this doodle is usually kind of based on maps of 3D cities, imaginary cities, not 3D cities. But if you look at one of the books, you can make it 3D. And I mix it up with big sweeping arcs and lines with smaller, more contained drawing bits. And you can really get passionate about it. You can let all your frustrations go, or if you have a lot of energy from the day, you know, if you're looking forward to something in the future, you know, it's all about creating something now and in the future. You know, we can control our futures somewhat, we can't control our past. I use fives sometimes, because that's like a motif that I like to use. And for me, the lines are energy. And when you walk through the street or you do exercise, you feel exhilarated, you feel passion, you feel excited, there's energy. Somebody criticized, you know, the energies. When people say the energies, it's not what I mean. It's more to do with feeling very elated or very passionate when you're doing something. You can almost feel the electricity come down your arm when you're making a line like this. You know, I'm sure people like Pablo Picasso felt that as well, you know, when they did their masterpieces. And I like strange shapes that look like writing, almost like alien writing. Symbols that you might be able to project meaning on too, but they really probably don't have any meaning specifically, but you can project the meaning. You know, what does the 5 mean? Is it a street sign? Is it something on a t-shirt? Is it, you know, is it a parking number? I don't know. And it's all these sort of architectonic elements that you can look into. And apologies if you can't see the. I'll do a more close-up in a minute. I need to get a full lighting studio set up. And you can help me with that by donating to me, so I can continue this social media work. So I love sharing what I do with you and how it can help you. And I also love the idea of the present and the future. We can change it. We can't change the past. So it's optimism in the future, using futuristic forms, shapes, technologies. And look at the mess. I don't really care what I'm making. You know, some people say, oh, this is, whoops. some people say, oh, this is rubbish, this is just not realistic. Well, they don't know goddamn much about drawing and art, then, do they? I mean, the kinds of drawings, I'll just pick this up, the kinds of drawings I used to do when I was 16, 17, you know, you've got sort of old grannies saying, oh, this is wonderful, and you do like a cathedral, and, you know, that's not really what you want to be doing. Well, it's not what I want to be doing. And when you find someone that really appreciates your work, you know that's the people that share the same interests in you. You know that they're on the same wave, as it were. You're on the same surf wave, as it were. You know, when people don't like what you do, well, they can move on. You know, because their time is not worth my time. I'm not going to explain to them about too much. If they're willing to listen, then that's fine. And this is all about release. You know, you can it's almost like your back. My back feels, because I get a bad back sometimes, and sometimes see me like this. It's just from, you know, sitting down, and kind of almost is like getting sort of chiropractician or an osteopath or a physiotherapy session by doing all this movements. Releases the tension in your back. And I'm even holding the pen like a 5-year-old now to get more fluidity into the line. And you know, often there's a division between just scribbling and drawing, and then the other work that you might do or I do. So I do quite 3D graphics kind of work. So if you look at my other blogs, you can see how I take these doodle sketches into the more finished 3D graphics and 3D print laser cutting work. So it's nice to be able to do traditional stuff using a pen, old materials, and then use new technologies as well. So I'm all for that, so check out my blog about that too. So let's have a look. Yeah, what a nice scribble. You know, and you can start shifting patterns around. So it's almost like 2D sculpture. You can even, although it's not very good to touch this stuff, you can also use your finger. I'm kind of running out of pen, but I'm going to stop there, and I'm going to do a close-up for you now. Oh, hi, we're recording again. So I'm going to, that was quite fuzzy, so you saw me talking about it and saw the general form. I'm going to put it on autofocus now. Hopefully it'll work. Yeah, something like that. You know, when you're immersed in drawing, it's like you're this close to it, yeah, in a way. So you can see all the scribbles. You know, pushing it around, using my finger again. And I want you to see the energy in it. Yeah. So all these lines making up like a complete form. And some of you might not like abstract kind of line work. You might prefer more realistic things. But you know, it's like music. You know, music doesn't really have to sound like things. Yeah, it's to do with feelings. And for all those that might not like abstract kind of work, you know, how can you explain when you're really happy? You know, if you're really happy, you can feel a certain way. Yeah, of course you can draw happiness with a smiley face, a realistic person smiling, but there are other ways of communicating as well. So don't write stuff off that you haven't looked into before, because if you give it a chance, then you might discover something in it that you can learn from. Even if it's something because you don't like it, at least you have an opinion, judgment. So here's the 5. This is like a motif I use. It's not good to explain everything away because some things are unexplained in what one does. And you know, these doodles are good for ideas generation. So when I'm looking at it, as I say, pushing a chair back so I don't fall on it. You know, you look at certain elements stand out. So particularly this square here, like so. So that's quite nice, you know, almost like a logo or an ancient symbol. Yeah. Again, I draw a lot of these triangles. There's another one there. And then there's cubes here that are fragmented like that. So at the moment I can't really see anything that is jumping out. Another thing I do, if you look at one of my other blog posts a few blog posts back, sorry, because it was a few months ago now, then I took a doodle like this and I turned it into a 3D computer graphic city. So I used, basically what I did is I used the lines and stuff as plans for the city, and then I extruded most of it and then shot it at an angle in the program that I used at the time. I was using for that was 3ds Max. So if you've got any comments or questions, please let me know. Doodling is a great thing to do, and it's a great thing to do at the end of the week when you're tired. I mean, I've just been swimming, that's why my eyes are red. Often I go swimming, so people often probably wonder why I've got panda eyes or, you know, whatever, but that's actually from the chlorine in the pool. And that's good. So without saying much more, it's only 7:30. I thought it was later it's a few in Iceland. I'm going to go out and get some fresh air, I think, in a minute. So thanks very much, and speak to you soon. Bye for now.